Hey everybody, what is going on? This is Scott Garber back in the saddle of the Profluent Sports podcast, where we are highlighting founders, investors, executives across the sports business landscape. Today, we're excited to welcome our next guest, founder and creative director of KlutchShots AI, Jeff Snyder and Irvin Garduno. Welcome to the show. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Hey, Scott, thanks for having us. How you doing?
Life is good. This is an exciting one, guys. You know, as Profluence continues to grow as an ecosystem, our member base continues to grow, which then gives us opportunities to bring in members of the Profluence Sports Business Association like Jeff to come and share the platform and bring us up to speed on all the cool things that are happening in the AI intersection of sports. But Jeff, before we dive into all the fun stuff, give the listeners a little background to your origin story and how Clutch Shots became a thing.
Sure. I would say that I am, to start with saying that I am a member of Profluence and excited to be and appreciate it a ton with you and Scott, what you and Andrew are doing. So yeah, for me, my background is media. I've been in media for years, and then I had kids and they started playing sports. And I was like, man, I'm going to get amazing highlights for their sports games. And I came to run into the same wall that, tens of millions of other parents hit with their kids playing sports. It's really hard to get great sports highlights. So that started me on a journey and brought me to where we are with KlutchShots AI today.
I love it. And Irv, just for continuity, I know we're going to come to you later in the conversation, but give the listeners a little context on how you fit in the journey here.
So I come from the photography sports background. I've been doing that for 6 years, and I've been grateful enough to do it at the pro level, but also at the high school athlete level, but also the younger kids as well, with their parents as well, helping them out make content, but also send things to coaches, just do content for so many different basketball and just at that level that can help so many people.
I love it. And you know what's really cool is we all know this, unless you live under a rock, that sports is going through a pure evolution. We're watching tools professionalize, we're watching the asset class mature, and it's all at the time that AI is having its rise as well. And so, Jeff, I'm really curious. Let's dive in a little bit to the product. What was the aha moment when you realized, that the market was moving fast and we can leverage AI? Talk to us about that moment that, KlutchShot was born and what the journey's been like as you guys have been building.
Sure. I'd say the moment started years ago when I was like, I've got to get better highlights for my kids. And then I've been thinking about it, working on the product for a while, and then met my co-founder and realized what people had liked what we were doing, but wanted it more mobile. How can you do this just on a phone? And I was like, I don't know, let's try. And so my co-founder and I we put the work in, and now we're able to do crazy AI computer vision and do it all on device, which makes it super easy, accessible. We can basically make it so every parent and youth athlete can have somebody like Irv, who would normally be shooting as a pro shooter highlights. We can give you the technology that makes it super fast and easy to do it just using an app on your phone.
It's super great, Jeff. And I've had the privilege of seeing the application, meeting some of the team. But Jeff, we hear from our lens a lot of folks that say they're building AI, right? And they'll slap this on there. Give us the, sort of how do you guys define AI? What has that journey been building a true native application for what you guys are doing? I'm just always curious, because AI is this big umbrella term, how you guys think about it.
No, that's actually, it's one of our biggest problems. Like the technology is hard, but awareness and mind share seem to be really difficult because, like you said, it's no different than any other industry, right? Everybody just slaps AI on and they say they do it. So for us, we build our own proprietary data sets and models and algorithms and all that. And then we see other people, just saying they have AI and they don't necessarily have it. And so what it's really become is understanding that we're building a new category. So that's something we've had to realize. We're building a new category. We call it AI-powered instant highlights. And so we have to kind of help users understand that and define it. Like, what does that mean? So if somebody says they have AI-powered highlights, what does that do? What does it mean? What are the features? What are the benefits? What do people actually want? It sounds like you can do a lot. What does it actually do? So for us, what we do, our North Star was how we can do what people want. And we don't think anybody's been able to do what people want. I go to tons of tournaments. I ask every parent and kid there, I say, what do you want? And I tell them what I think they want. And we've just met, and they all basically agree. I say, look, you want your kids' best plays from the game in as high resolution as you can get, framed vertically to share on social, multi-angle if you can get it, as fast, cheap, and easy as possible. And
Yeah.
everyone nods their heads, everyone agrees. And then I ask them, who does that? And I get one of two answers: either nobody, or we hope you do. And that's what we do. So I think we're builders. I sort of call them builders and marketers. So there's the builders, us and a few other companies that are actually building AI and computer vision products that benefit users. And then marketers who say they're doing things, and I don't really know what they do.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting, Irv. I'm going to come over to you. Shooting in the space for 5+ years now. Had you seen any other tools, right? Like, and I mean, I'm always curious from a consumption lens. It's interesting when you're the founder. This is your baby. You know it inside and out. What was your journey into using the tool? How has that evolved to you now? Actually working with the team.
When I met Jeff and he told me what KlutchShots did, that's when I realized no one has this ability. But not only did he show me, not only did he told me what it did, but he showed me what it did. And once I was able to see how the app worked and how it can help the parents and especially the kids and even to other people in the space, there's nothing like it. It was a no-brainer for me that parents should have this, players should have this, even coaches should have this product. It was a no-brainer.
Well, and it's really cool, I mean, my background, like I come from the recruiting side of the fence and, underneath Blue Star and then Stack Sports, we had a group called Crossover. And, it's been really neat over the last 7 or 8 years to watch the evolution of the video breakdown space, the highlight creation. And AI has just accelerated that. Jeff, I'm going to come at you from sort of left field here, but it's a more of a roadmap question, right? In sports, we always talk about so much of, we start in basketball. What sports can we go to next? I want to take this a different direction, right? We start with the phone. And now we're watching other modalities like glasses become, other means of capture. I'm curious, where do you see the video capture space and highlight space going over the next 24 to 48 months as we're in this like rapid phase of innovation?
It's a great question. And it's funny, I've had I've had 4 or 5 people come up to me with the glasses and ask when we can do that. I think that'll be something we can do, but I don't think it's actually where we get to. So I think what you want to know is like, where does this end?
Correct.
Right? And I'll tell you, I think it's crazy, but I feel like I built this amazing product that's super easy, gives you pro quality, multi-angle highlights for your kid. And I'll tell you, I show people at tournaments, they're blown away. They love it. They try it and they think it's fantastic. And then they often come up and go like, is there any way all I ask them to do is tap, right? And they're like, any way I don't have to tap? Like, I'll tell you where it's going based on what people want. And what people want is they want to watch the game, cheer for their kid, and then they want the highlights afterwards. They don't want to do anything, right? And so I have this experience with people. So what we're actually building is to that end. Like we're building install and mobile enterprise versions where they'll be up in the facilities. You can watch the game, you'll get it on your phone, in your kid's profile and account instantly. And I think that's where it is. If you ask people what they want it the easiest possible. The easiest possible is they don't have to do anything. They don't have to bring anything, right? And if we can do this at scale and keep the cost or bring them even lower, like that's where I see it going.
I love it. And I think speed and accuracy are the 2 ingredients that we're looking for, especially in the demand of the youth sports market. Jeff, I got to ask, we see the Spurs jersey behind you. What inspired you to start in basketball? Was it a love for the sport? Was it the controlled environment? Curious why you chose to, build basketball as the framework of the product.
Yeah, I'm obviously a Spurs fan.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of good years, and I think we'll have a few more. I think basketball is something I love to watch. There's great plays, and we actually started with basketball and volleyball. So my daughter was my best athlete. I have 2 boys and a girl. My daughter was my best athlete. She played volleyball, and so I shot my boys playing sports, but then my daughter was the one who went the farthest, and I shot with multiple cameras, did the most. And honestly, my North Star came from an aha moment I had with my daughter, Faith, at a volleyball game. It was, wouldn't it be amazing if after this game where she made so many great plays, on the drive home, she could be looking on her phone at her highlights and then putting them together and posting them on the drive home. And that sounded crazy at the time. We can actually do that now with KlutchShots. So we really started with volleyball and basketball. We made more progress in basketball quicker. There's just more to it. There's more highlights. There's more infrastructure in the space already. But volleyball is our second sport. We're in beta with that. So we're coming up with that really quickly. So we're kind of launching. We launched with basketball, added volleyball. They are, like you said, there's a lot of great elements. They're contained, they're indoors, they're smaller courts than giant fields. So there's a lot of positives to it, but the North Star was really my daughter's volleyball.
Love it. And I mean, look, and it's incredible to watch both sports, both on their domestic expansion, on their global expansion. And, having men's and women's is a really neat component of both of these sports. I think that it opens up the aperture quite a bit to build there. Question for both of you guys. I'm curious how you think about it, right? We talk a lot about the underlying technology, Jeff, right? And educating the market on how to use the tool. But for the teams, clubs, tournaments that you guys engage with, do you see KlutchShots layering in any other, value adds beyond just the video, whether it's branding, monetization, analytics to help in the age of NIL? Curious how you guys are thinking about that.
Yeah, I would say there's two parts to that, and I'll answer a little bit and maybe hand off to Irv for part of it too. I would say from the first part, we see with tournaments, clubs, and other organizations, we're trying to build this for all stakeholders. For sure, parents and kids, that's the beginning. But there are these other organizations, coaches, teams, things like that. So we've automatically built in logo elements where the teams, the tournaments can have their logo watermarked on the highlights. We're also getting to a place where we can do sponsorships with brands for that. So we're hoping they can become a revenue generator for them, not a cost generator. And then as far as additional features, there's some cool things that that are in the works with us. But I would say one of them, we're doing autonomous capture at the enterprise level, which we're working with a huge basketball events organization. I don't know if I can say the name here or not, but with Made Hoops. And so working with them on some things like that. And then we're also adding features. We'll be adding like AI editing. We'll be adding what we'd like to do is build a platform. So we'll do some of this ourselves, but we would love to have people join us. Like if you have analytics and platforms already or products already, bring them onto our platform and make them easy to access for people. And then I would say the person in the space most from our company is Irv. So I'd hand it over to Irv and see what he thinks.
Well, just how Jeff said about the logos. That's huge for programs, especially because some of these programs, some of them are in it to help the players as well and their athletes, but they also have to revenue money. That logo brings so much more that they can add even to like the gymnasiums. They can add those logos to it. But also some families, some players even have like their own brand. They can add their logo themselves. So that they always see that as really cool. Some parents tell me like, oh, so I could put my family name on this logo or on my videos. I'll automatically do it. Another thing is, when you use KlutchShots, every team has that one video mom or video dad, right? I think you remember seeing that at your sports. Some people have multiple. When you're using the application itself, you could get highlights for every single player on that team. Super easy. You just got to double tap the screen. You could put their jersey number in there. At the end of a game, the kid could go on their phone, put his jersey number in the filter option, number 24, and all his clips pop up. All number 2's clips pop up. And now it has a logo of the club team on it. So it's so easy to use. Same thing for the directors of the sports or the coaches. They could go on their phone, go on the KlutchShots app, and they automatically have their videos that they could post on socials, and they could get more views on it, more exposure. So they're loving it. They're actually loving that.
Well, and I think it's really neat, we watch the athletes just continue to get inundated younger and younger, for monetizing, the platform that they built around their performance on the court. And, I think any tool that we have to streamline that process and let the athletes continue to focus on being athletes is always going to be an advantage, right? It's the mind share of these folks are pulled in a million different directions. But, Irv, to the point you were just making, Jeff, I'm curious how you think about this, right? There's the social highlight side of things, but highlights are also used in the form of recruiting as well, right? And so with, the ability to capture with accuracy, tag, and then be able to use this, are you guys seeing the pull for a recruiting application, or is this strictly just highlights to social? How do you guys think about that from an applicability standpoint in the market?
So I'll talk about what we're trying to do, and then Irv could jump in about actual the space because he knows it better than I do. But for me, one of the big problems is fragmentation. So that's a huge issue in youth sports, and there's a ton of people trying to solve that. There's a ton of billionaires jumping into youth sports to kind of defragment it. I think one of the things that I would like to do for our platform is defragment things, right? And so like our lead investor has two boys, they only play basketball, so one sport, two kids. He has 16 apps. Like imagine a
Wow.
family of 5 with 3 kids playing multiple sports, like they can have 50 apps. Like that's a problem, right? And so for us, I think one of the things that I'm trying to do is build features in that kind of make this a platform that solves a lot of problems, right? So it can be very useful. And so one of the things that we talked about, I talked to a basketball scout, a basketball coach and scout, and he was telling me like some of their problems, right? So we built a feature in, and we already had it internally. And actually, one of Irv's buddies, who's a scout in California, same issues, right? How do you get video of the kids and data combined? Right now, they have giant books. You're writing things. You're putting them in on Excel spreadsheets. Like this is really fragmented way, and we've built a way that coaches and scouts and everybody for recruiting can have video and tags, information, like what you think about that video in one place. We think it's super valuable.
And then to piggyback on that, on the app, what do kids want? Kids want the vertical content. They want to post it on Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff, right? What do coaches want? Coaches want to see the horizontal content. They want to see the whole play. They just don't want to see if that you scored. They want to see if you made the right read, made the right pass, all that good stuff. And we have that in the app. So it gives you the horizontal because it's recording you horizontally, right, on the phone. But and then the AI makes it vertical and it tracks the ball, right? But you still get both, and we're the only ones that do that. You're getting both. So now you can send it. Now you can make a quick reel for yourself. You can post on TikTok, post on Instagram real quick. But then you also have the whole play of what just happened horizontally. And that's what you send to coaches. That's what coaches want to see.
And to that point, Scott, it's funny, like since Irv's come on, like our awareness and content has been amazing. He did a video and he's got over 1 million views on it. And it's funny. It's a great play. It's kind of funny and it's a great play. But he had a whole discussion from coaches and scouts of like, show the whole play. So then he posts the whole play and like the coaches are talking about exactly how it went down on this what we thought was great content, but it's also a coaching tool, right? So you get it all in one place.
Well, and I think that's where I was going to go with it. I think it's quite interesting. Like, you come into the market solving what I would call like a vanity issue where I want my daughter to be able to go ahead and post highlights. But as a byproduct, you actually start to bring continuity through the platform to other core foundational principles that help this machine of youth sports go, right? So it's always neat to watch the evolution where the product, sort of roadmap started to where you guys are at. And, Jeff, I'm going to come at you from the founder lens here, right? But how do you create a culture in a fast-paced, moving environment like, youth sports right now and AI to make sure that we are delivering the right product at the right time and that our team is aligned with where the market's going? Curious, just sort of putting your founder hat on how you're navigating this ecosystem.
It's a little chaotic because there's a lot that people want, but I think we've always come at it, as I said, trying to solve everything, right? And there's a lot of even legacy players that are huge. They solve a portion, maybe just schools. They don't do club, right? So we've come at this like, how do we solve the problem for home games, away games, for club and school, for multi-sport? We've had that lens the whole time, and so it is a little chaotic. It's different. It's difficult. It is not something that if we were, a giant enterprise level company that we could do because it would be so slow to make decisions. But I'll give you an example. We started out as a consumer product in basketball. We've then grown to volleyball, and we will do more sports. But we've also seen the need from organizations to go from just a consumer app to an enterprise app. So we built a mobile enterprise app, which we can go in and out to spaces. Well, we've now we're working with a volleyball facility in Texas, in Dallas, that has a club and a facility. They want us installed at their facility. And then we just are starting with an elite basketball program school on the East Coast in New York that wants us installed in their school. Right. So we're building the ability to do that. And there's just nobody else that could solve all those problems. So it's a headache for my co-founder and the tech team to build all this stuff. And it's like, I feel like they're going to kill me most days. But being small and nimble and seeing the big picture and being able to do it and do it quickly and adopt new technologies is really the thing. And I'll tell you something that I find incredible. And again, I don't know how I'm a part of this, but I am, I guess is my vision, is that we're to the place, Scott, now where we are building our own models, and we're now using AI and machine learning to train our models. So we're using AI to create AI.
Very interesting. And I think that's where this gets really interesting for the broader landscape, right? It's the proprietary data sets that you can then use to build your own language models that then ultimately shape. And I think there's a lot of value in that, Jeff. Real quick question, right? Right now, everything you guys do is captured through the phone. Do you guys see a hardware play, or will it always be native to the phone? Is that the secret sauce? Because we watch a lot of folks develop technology and then they get pulled into installing cameras and running it on their software back. Just curious sort of how you guys are navigating what the traditional market has been to, where you see it going.
Yeah, look, I will say we're standing on the shoulders of giants. There's a lot of people that came before us that are legacy products, and I don't want to trash anybody. They did great things for the technology that existed in the day, right? And so I think we're at a new stage, kind of like you said, where there's a revolution going on, and we're kind of on that wave. And so we started mobile, and you can do everything on the phone. And we're doing crazy things because of the technology in the phones these days, right? So that's a key point of it. At the same time, like I said earlier, I think if you want to get to the end game, like where does this end? It ends where nobody's holding anything or bringing any equipment to any game, but they're getting the highlights. And if that's the case, that means installs.
Got
So
it.
for us, and I don't want to give away any proprietary secrets, but what we're not going to get stuck building a bunch of hardware on our own, though, right? Like we're going to use the best hardware out there, and we're going to put it together with our software.
Perfect.
And so we will be able to do that. We're already, like I said, talking to schools and facilities about doing that. And they're excited because it's there all the time. There's tons of use. They want to do, the other thing about it is we can then help them do content. At the school, there was an NBA player who came back because the school puts out NBA players every year, was doing crazy things at practice. They do insane practices. Like this is content that is actually very valuable and usable, but really hard to get. And so we can do those things now where we have great AI content and great AI computer vision, pro quality video, but we can also leave it installed and be there 24/7. So I think it's the best of all worlds.
And it's cool. Then you can start to really see the intersection where, someone like Irv, who has such deep tenure and experience within the basketball space, now we can be more of that thought leader instead of just the executor, right? And I think that when we watch the evolution of the athletes and how we're using content, it's no longer just linear, right? It's how do we build strategy around this to create a more dynamic ecosystem. So I think it's really exciting. There's a lot of really cool things on the horizon. Let me ask you this, like, as we continue to professionalize the ecosystem younger and younger, Irv, I'm going to come to you. Mm-hmm. Talk to us about the parents, right? Like we always talk about the money and we always talk about the technology around it. What's the pulse like in these gyms around an EYBL event, around some of these larger high stake events? I think that not a lot of people get to really understand what it's like. Give us what your perspective has been.
The pulse in the EYBL gym is amazing. Yeah. It is. You have to go experience it. They're high level games. People have invested so much money into their athletes, right? They want to see them perform. They want to see them do well. They want to see them win. So the pulse is amazing. The one thing that KlutchShots does is parents, they want film of their son. They want film of their daughter. But do they want to film? No, they want to be parents. Most of the times they can't film because they start using their phones and they start saying, go, 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 go. And then the shaky, you missed the whole play. They don't want to do it. They just want to watch their kids. Yeah. But we created a way that you can do both, and it's so easy. We even created the way with the Apple Watch. You could put your tripod next to you. You could put it far away under the basket, somewhere wherever it's safe. And now you could cheer, clap for your kid, and then when they make a play, tap your Apple Watch. You got that play now. And when I talk to parents, I can't even talk to them during the game most of the time because they're so focused. They don't want to talk about anything. They just want to focus and cheer. Well, when I talk to them after the game, they're like, okay, so I could do both? Okay, how? And I see it right after the game. And for them, it's a no-brainer. They're like, okay, and how much is it? It's $5 a month? Okay, yeah, I'll do it right now. You got me sold. And then their kids use it, and they're like, this is awesome. The kids understand it even faster because, they're a little bit younger. So they understand it a little bit faster, and they see how it benefits them. So they love it.
No, it's really cool. And I mean, look, I've been very fortunate to be on some of the shoe league circuits, and the intensity of the game is through the roof, right? And so, I think it's just as important to be able to go ahead and provide professional solutions to a seemingly professional ecosystem, even though these kids are ninth to 12th graders, right? And so it's really neat to watch them come together. And Jeff, what I would say you guys are doing is democratizing access, right? Like, and you can have these install cameras, and that's great on the enterprise side. But as Irv alluded to, for $5 a month, I now have a tool that can make me compete with some of the best, products out there, and make sure that my kid gets a professional experience, at least outward, beyond whatever the club's doing, which to me is what the space needs. As we turn the corner, Jeff, and start to bring this thing home, I'm going to, go back to your founder hat here. You've been on the journey, you raised capital, you built a product, you found product market fit. As you reflect back, before we look out the windshield forward, what's one of the biggest lessons that you've learned on your founder journey navigating this crazy sports market?
So to narrow it down to one learning, we call them learnings. Like, it's constant. Yeah. It's ongoing for me. Hard to say one specific learning. I think, I guess it's this. I think what people want is what they see. And so what people are used to seeing from the pros is what they want, right? As a kid, when I was an athlete, like, in baseball, I had a leather wrapped aluminum bat. I didn't need a batting glove, but all my heroes had batting gloves. So I needed a batting glove. My kid, when he was playing, when I was the assistant coach for my kid's like fourth grade basketball team, Kobe started wearing the leg sleeve. He was like, he and his buddy were like, Dad, we need to get leg sleeves. I was like, I don't think you even have leg muscles. What do you need a leg sleeve for? And it was like, because he saw it with Kobe. And so these kids and parents, they see amazing, high quality, multi-angle, like close-up video of sports. That's what they want. They don't like, it shouldn't be, oh, well, we're just in youth sports, so we should get super wide angle video that we can't see unless you put a fire circle around us and then the play goes. Like, they want to get the same thing. And so that's, I think, what we work towards.
I love that answer. And we live in an age of such quick, rapid feedback loops where it's not only do I want that now. Right. And to be able to marry that in, and, look at building in the .com era to then, the age of information. And now, like, we're on this precipice of agentic AI and, who knows where it's going. It's so neat to be able to put, real business units around it and test it in the world of sport, which to me, Jeff, shapes the culture of everything that's going on around the world. I think it's one of these big pillars that brings society together. So, look at what you guys have built is truly incredible. Your impact at the grassroots level is felt. Let's bring this thing home. Irv, as we look out into 26, clutch shot and basketball related, what's got you most excited about where things are going?
What has me most excited is the amount of parents that are going to be using this, and by helping themselves out, saving them so much time, but also the amount of kids that are going to be using this to chase their dreams, because at the recruiting level, you need this film. Most of the time they can't get it fast, so they don't do it at all. But now, because it's so easy and so makes it so accessible, they could send out that film, have more confidence with it. It's not shaky, and parents get their life back. They could just go to the game, watch their kids play, enjoy being their parents, and then after the game, that's it. They don't have to go look at the film. They don't have to go do all that stuff because they did it during the game, just at a click of a button. So that's why I'm so excited. More people are going to be using it. And it's going to make a lot of people life a lot more easier.
Listen, and I want to drill down on this point before I come to you, Jeff, with the same question. Parent, and as a young parent of two now, we spend so much time, energy, and money around these sports. But you go to these games and we're pulled in a million different directions, and we don't always get to enjoy the end product, which is being completely present to watch our kid play. And I always found that to be such a conundrum. It's, nothing else would you invest that much time and energy into only to take a phone call while it's going on, or to be distracted, through a video. So, Irv, I think it's such a great call out. It allows us to be human and enjoy the experience that we invest so much into. I love that so much. Jeff, same question to you to bring us home. What's got you most excited as we look at the horizon?
So for me, we've delivered on the consumer product. We're finalizing building the enterprise fully autonomous version, getting that out to people, like testing it at this elite school, testing it at this volleyball facility and club. That's something that for me is super exciting because we can get the organizations, they can get it to all their people. We can get it to the organizations. We can get it to all the kids and parents. It benefit from that with them. And we've just started to do partnerships. And so we've got some basketball partnerships, a lot of like high level volleyball partnerships where they see it as a need. So they're saying like, we need great content for our kids. And like, we're getting parent film that they want to know how they can do it because the film they're getting is bad. So it's a need they have as a club. And a lot of these clubs are elite, right? With great kids, and they don't have the ability to get them high level content. So that's something that we're excited about doing. We'll start mentioning and talking about those as we go into the new year or just before.
I love it, man. And you know, look at I'll bring us home and put a bow on it. You know, Jeff, Irv, it's been so fun to not only watch the ride that you guys have been on, but to be a part of it. And you know, as we move into this next wave of sports, you know, we're watching, you know, the new wave of innovation start to happen, and you guys are truly at the center of that, bringing unique insights, bringing real world experience and marrying that with deep technical expertise to put a new way to engage and develop the ecosystem. And so from Profluence, thank you for what you guys are doing. It's been great having you part of the membership, and we're excited to continue to put the spotlight on members that are working through the grassroots, that are now going to be, you know, shaping the next wave of how we all consume, digest, and create memories for our lifetimes. Jeff, Irv, thank you guys so much. Jeff, bring us home. Any closing words?
Yeah. I really appreciate that, what you said. And I'm going to give a shameless plug about Profluence. Like, if I wake up and I'm not seeing content from Profluence, I'd be freaked out, right? That's sort of how I start my day. And so what pieces of information I get from Profluence is helping shape our strategy, right? And how we go about things. Like, where's the money coming from? What are the people spending time on? Where are the eyeballs? Where are consumers? Where are things going? So that's been a huge benefit for me, and I think for KlutchShots. And so just want to give you flowers for what you guys are doing at Profluence and really appreciate it.
This ad brought to you by. No, I'm just kidding. That is like, that is so kind. And, you know, look at I will end it on this. It's, you know, this phase of sports will be built through collaboration, not competition. And it is an abundant ecosystem that we can all participate, grow really rich businesses, and ultimately provide a better environment for coaches, teams, players, parents, everyone that's involved. And Andrew and I believe that at our core. And so thank you guys for leaning in, believing, and executing. And we're excited to watch the KlutchShots journey as you guys evolve. Until
Thanks,
next
Scott.
time, guys,
Appreciate
we'll
Appreciate
catch
you.
you.
Thank you, Scott.
Take care.
And stop.